Hey y'all, welcome to the second video. This one's about college life. Please enjoy.
So first, I think that college bathrooms suck, man. Nobody it's not like nobody cleans them, but people don't clean them, and it's like really disgusting. Like campus bathrooms, okay? Like your private bathrooms and your dorm bathrooms actually like get cleaned and stuff more frequently than like campus building classrooms. But then again, it also depends on which kind of university you go to, like private or public.
And I would say like in high school, it's definitely a lot more structured. Like you would have like classes from 7 to like 3 p.m. and then be off for the rest of the day. But then in college, it's like you determine your own schedule. So it's like a lot more freedom, but with freedom also comes like a lot of responsibility. So I would say that's like both a positive and negative. Like there's freedom to do like what you want to do. There's freedom to like kind of like move your schedule around and stuff. But with that comes like a lot of like responsibility. And like for me, I'm like very like an indecisive person, and so I'm always like questioning whether the decisions I made were like the right decisions and stuff. And so I definitely felt that like kind of burden. But I think like once you keep going throughout college, you like start to become more confident in your decisions and start to become more like sure of like what your schedule should look like, how much like you can take kind of, and like cuz like freshman year I would tend to like stack up a bunch of things and just like overload myself and like like commit to too much. But as you go through college, you kind of learn your limits and stuff. You kind of learn what you put as priority. And also in college, it's like a lot different because you're like always with your friends and stuff, which can be a good thing. And also like it's a good thing because it's like fun, but it's a bad thing because like you can get on each other's nerves and stuff. But I think like it's definitely like you bond a lot more and you really make those like lifetime friendships and those like deeper friendships because like you're up late and you just like
College is very independent. If you don't do assignments, the teachers are not going to chase you down because they don't care. If you fail, and you're just one of like so many other students that they have. So you are in charge of yourself. That can be a positive or a negative. So now you'll have a lot more free time. If you're good at managing your own time, that means you get the freedom to do a lot of the things that you didn't have the freedom to do in high school. Now, if you're bad at managing your own time, then this is going to be really hard for you. Set up a schedule that works for you. Make sure you're doing your homework on time. Also, you gotta take care of yourself. Please clean your rooms. Your roommate will not like it if you're really dirty, unless both of you guys are dirty, in which case, that's fine, I guess. But one other thing is you're probably not going to have like a set group of classmates that you'll see all the time. You really have to reach out to make a friend group in college, and you'll have to make an effort to connect with the professors. You'll have to make an effort to connect with your fellow students. It's really just new.
Just a small encouragement. Have fun in college. I tend to get stressed when I know that I have things to do, and some people are totally the opposite. They push everything off, they procrastinate, they do all the fun things, and then they're stressed out of their mind when they have a day to do everything. But finding a good balance is important, and being disciplined in that, but also don't work yourself to the bone and, make yourself miserable because, the weight of your future and all of college is on your shoulders. I don't think that's a good place to be either. So finding a balance is important. But really it's a good experience, and it might be challenging sometimes, but you grow a lot from it, and I think that's important. So there are always semi-reliable net calculators online, and some schools even have their own calculators. So those are pretty cool to check out. But fill out the FAFSA and the CSS profile because both of them will help a lot. But generally speaking, please do not quote me on this. If you are in the middle class,
you won't really get much financial aid if you have like a family of 4 and your family's making more than 90K a year. Some things that will help though is if you have siblings in college at the same time. So there are plenty of online calculators for stuff like this that would factor into these different life situations. And they're fairly accurate, I would say. So those will be nice to check out.
For pros, state schools have more like practical benefits and pros, whereas private schools have more privileged benefits.
Aside from saving money and being able to visit home more often, another pro of state universities is that the opportunities offered are generally much less competitive than those offered by prestigious universities. So I find myself super involved in immersive experiences outside of my studies, like internships, undergraduate research, and a part-time job. And another pro is that state universities usually accept all AP credit in dual enrollment, so a lot of people are able to graduate early and don't have to retake classes they already took. Some of the cons are you may feel as if you're missing out on the opportunity, freedom, and adventure of living away from home. There's also a lack of prestige, like professors may not be as renowned. And there are generally larger class sizes, especially for your introductory courses.
There's many things that you should bring to college, but one thing that you definitely need are some shower shoes for the sanity and the sanitary needs of the students that you're going to be sharing the bathroom with. Please bring some flip-flops. It is helpful that you will not contract any type of athlete's foot or anything like that in the bathrooms. It's extremely important for the just the cleanliness of yourself and others as well. One thing that I would say don't bring so much of is clothes. You don't need a bunch of clothes. Some people bring a bunch of clothes. I was one of those people, and I didn't wear them. I didn't wear all of those clothes I had. So it's important that you bring just what you need, not overdoing it. But that's something that you can learn over a year or two of being on campus, and you'll be fine.
If you're living in the dorms, I highly recommend getting a portable stove. It might be illegal, but honestly, it saved me so much money and it was not a fire hazard. I didn't have to get a meal plan at all my freshman year because I was able to like boil my dumplings, make mac and cheese, pasta using the stove, and it was just so convenient and so cheap.
Please just don't bring more than 4 suitcases. I'm going to attach a link to a checklist that a good friend of mine used that may be useful for your reference. But please do not bring more than that checklist. There's already way too much on it.
I actually came into Berkeley with the intention of going the pre-med route. Woo! Was gonna be a doctor, and then after like one semester of college, I was like, haha, you're funny, Alina. And now I'm a computer science major. Woo. And like from what I observed from people who were just like completely unsure and like and then finally like deciding on their major, it's just like they just took a crap ton of classes like their freshman year. Like their first semester they just took a bunch of weird classes that like didn't go together, like poli-sci and bio courses and like stuff like that. When you experiment and you try new things, like you start to figure out like, oh, I like this or I don't like this, you know. It's just like figuring out what you like and what you don't like really kind of just narrows the field down for you. Yeah, and like for some examples of experimentation, like I said already, it's just like taking classes that you're interested in. And another way is just to join clubs or participate in activities that you find a lot of passion in.
You know, the application may ask you to declare a major, and that's so that they can get some round numbers for population on campus and how many kids they can have in departments and keeping professors employed. But you'll be surprised how many schools just will not ask you to declare your definitive major until you're a sophomore, and usually late in the sophomore year. And Grace, you can probably address the question as well.
Yeah, so I mean, for me, I am engineering, so at Princeton, I had to declare end of freshman year, but for non-engineering students, they do only declare at end of sophomore year. And that was just weird all around because of COVID. We didn't have our like banners or we like officially declare majors and everything. But I was gonna say that with declaring your major, it was actually kind of hard for me to declare chem and bioengineering, because going into Princeton, the first thing that I ever heard about the major from every single person I talked to about it was, oh, I used to be, we call it CV. I used to be CV, but then I switched to computer science or I switched to bio, or I know someone who did that. And so, like, out of around 500 to 600 people per class, in the undergraduate body, only like 20 or 30 are in the chem and bioengineering department. So it was difficult because there were complaints like it's not super well advised. You're not going to get the pre-health experience that you want. So my peers, there was a lot of backlash, or not really backlash, but like negative reviews there. Also, my parents weren't super supportive of it because they were like, oh, either pick computer science or pick biology, like you don't have to do both. But in the end, it doesn't matter what your parents or your peers say about it. It matters what you want. So, like, after taking the intro class for my major, after taking some other classes related to it, I decided that I actually really liked it. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was innovative. So that's why I picked it. But it was definitely a hard choice.
CMU has a bit of a different experience in terms of like declaring major, because we applied to a school at CMU, right? So like I applied to School of Computer Science first. So like when you are applying, you should have like some idea of like what you want to major in, and especially if it's a school like CMU where they sort of already put you in your like major specific school, like as soon as you get in, like I would say just sort of know that, I mean, you can still transfer out, but just sort of know what you're getting into, I guess, if you do choose to go to a school like CMU.
CMU,
I mean,
you have to pick 2 or 3 though, right, Clara? You have to prioritize.
Yeah. So like if you don't get in, like, yeah, basically if you don't get into like your first pick, they'll consider you for your second, I think, and so on, hopefully.
All right, speaking from personal experience, do not overload yourself on like school related things, but have time for friends and for developing relationships with other people. So like for me, for example, I've taken a lot of classes, like I don't know, like 6 to 7, sometimes more classes a semester, and that is not sustainable over like more than one semester. And I was also working like 3 jobs at this one time, working like over 20 hours a week sometimes. And I was also involved in church a lot, which took a lot of time because my church has like a lot of activities. And of course I had to like study, and I also had clinicals, so like I have to be in the hospital for like 6 to 8 to 12 hours at a time. So I was really tired a lot, and I was also really busy. So because of that, I found that I didn't really have that much mind space to like allocate for my relationships sometimes, which is kind of like a negative spiral because you think like, oh, if only there's like someone to talk to who I can vent and just like be comfortable with and just chill. But then because you don't have time for that, that doesn't really happen. And then it just, bad negative spiral. And also another thing is that if you are very busy, your friends will also they'll obviously see that. So then they will be less likely to reach out to you to hang out because they know that you're so busy. And even though like you can tell them like, please hang out with me, or or kind of just like you can reach out, they'll still feel like there's a barrier because you're so busy. So yeah, don't overload yourself and prioritize relationships. Yeah, but also, I mean, of course, like take classes, do well in them, and like really learn from them. The other thing with taking too many classes is that there's not really enough time or like energy really to think about the concepts that has been presented in class and that you've learned.
So you don't really absorb it as well and like critically think as well as you could if you take lesser classes, fewer classes.
During my first semester in college, my schedule was beautiful. I would start my mornings at like 9 or 10, have 2 or 3 classes without any gaps, and be done with the day by like 1. So I would have the rest of the day to myself. Obviously, it's not always that ideal. As you get into upper division classes, there's usually less flexibility with classes.
So this is what my schedule looks like for the upcoming semester, assuming that Corona blows over. My classes are in purple, clubs are in salmon, research is in blue, and my study/nap time/gaps are in gray. And I usually like to use my gaps for studying because I'm already in grind mode.
Weekend with Friday off, and then I just like took some more classes on the other 4 days of the week. So you can do that if you like having your free time to yourself. If you prefer having a more spread out week, or maybe you just take like a class every single day and there's just 2 of them in the morning, you have afternoons free, that's good too. So just consider your schedule personally for yourself, and if you don't like waking up in the mornings, then don't sign up for early morning classes. Give yourself time to eat and get to your classes in between. Make sure you are always clear with your deadlines. So that's the big thing, is you can't be forgetting anything. Then I like to use the Google Calendar actually, so you can actually block out all the time that you think you'll need for your homework. So make sure that you know what's due, and make sure you have an idea of how long it'll take you to do that. And then once you have those things, you should be able to just arrange that and make sure that you have enough time to do everything. And also just make sure that you're living life too. You're not a school machine. So figure out how much time it takes to do homework and see how you can fit free time into that. And, take care of yourself. Sleep, eat, bathe.
This is also something I was really worried about because I get lost really easily. So honestly, I spent the first few weeks using Google Maps to get around campus. And after getting lost a few times, you eventually get a hang of where everything is on campus. Also found it really helpful to scout out where my classes were a few days before classes started.
My roommate is someone who is very directionally challenged. And so she walked around with me like for the first 2 weeks, and I had to tell her where to go. But anyway, that's not the point. It's just a story about my roommate because she's cute and I like her a lot. So anyway, I know that it can be a little bit scary at first trying to figure out where to go, and especially the town, and you don't want to be trapped in, on campus all the time. But you really do figure it out faster than you think you will. And more likely than not, you'll meet plenty of people who know the area, or who are at least from that area, or who are more directionally capable than you are. And, so you'll definitely figure it out quickly. And also don't be afraid to ask for help or to ask someone if you don't know where you're going. Like, upperclassmen can be really nice, and it's not, they don't have to be scary or whatever.
So I used to say that my exercise was walking from class to class, east to west. Well, the east bus stop, from my dorm to the east bus stop, and then from the bus stop on west to my classes was my walking and my exercise for the day. But in reality, I think that you should exercise. At least start with like 2 times a week, go to the gym, do some workouts in your dorm room. You can find your way about doing it, but I think it's extremely important that you stay physically fit or physically healthy. Just maintain your physical health in college, most importantly. Just also, your physical health does not only help your physical being, maintaining your physical health doesn't just help your physical being, but it also helps your mental. You are able to think better, live better, feel better because you are exercising, and I recommend that, yes.
Yeah, so it can be hard sometimes to fit in the gym because you feel like there's a million things going on at once, but if you really want to go, you will make time for it. That's kind of how it's worked out for me. You know, and it's different for everyone. I have friends who only work out at night, and I don't like working out at night because I have no energy and no motivation. So I usually go in the middle of the day when no one is at the gym. But I think that making that a priority will definitely help, not only with you staying fit, but also you know, releasing some stress and, you know, yeah, that stuff. But definitely, you know, some form of exercise is good. Also, you walk everywhere, so that's a lot of exercise too.
I think for making friends, like, everyone struggles differently with this. So, like, for me, I didn't particularly struggle with, like, making friends, like, clicking with people. Like, I'm naturally very bubbly, if you can't tell from this video already. I'm also naturally very social, so, like, it's, like, very easy for me to click with people. But I also had friends who were, who, like, were friends now, but, like, when they were freshmen, like, didn't talk to anyone because they just didn't know how to reach out and stuff like that. So how to make friends in college? Honestly, like, get involved, take initiative. Like, nothing's gonna get handed to you, and everything takes a lot of work. And the same goes for making friends. Like, if you want to go be friends with that person, you can't just expect them to just be your friend, right? They want to be your friend because, like, they want to be your friend and you want to be their friend, right? It's a two-way relation, it's like two-way street in a relationship. So, like, if you want to build that friendship, that means, like, continuously engaging and socializing and, like, seeing them and doing activities with them to, like, grow that, like, friendship, right? So part of that means, like, if there's, like, an activity, like a welcome activity or, like, social event, or club or something, like, that means, like to make friends, like, one way to do so, to, like, start that conversation and build the, like, relationship or engage, is to just engage and join clubs and, like, go to these events, like, where you can meet people and talk to people and, like, stuff like that. Be engaged, take initiative, and go to the freaking event, even if you don't want to, because, yeah, like, literally, if you don't have friends, go to the event. Just go to the event and you'll meet people.
So I'm really introverted and I don't really like meeting new people. But thankfully, some extroverts met me the first day of orientation week and they adopted me, and now I'm in a really nice friend group. But to be honest, as introverted as one can be, there are also times in the future where you must step out of your comfort zone and you have to use those communication skills that may be vital for your career. So the perfect time to cultivate these skills are right now in college, where everyone is in the same boat. So go to events that interest you, especially during orientation. There will be a lot of people who introduce themselves to you. Be genuine, be polite, and see if there can be a possible connection that's made. So even after a week, a lot of people may think that they haven't found their true friend group yet, and that's okay. Keep cultivating these skills throughout the year, and eventually you will find your place with a really loving group of people.
I don't regret, like, trying to explore my interests a lot by taking, like, one of the reasons why I took so many classes is because I'm interested in a lot of things. So I've taken, like, a creative writing class, I've taken religious studies classes, obviously because I have a minor. I've taken a law class, I've taken, like, a business class, and I don't regret exploring my interests in that way. But I think something to remember is that you can also learn a lot about those subjects by talking to friends who, like, study those things specifically. They're like a fountain of knowledge, and it's just, like, amazing to really talk to people and see what they're interested in, and yeah, like, to be, like, friends with them and really get to know them, because in the end it's about the people.
I regret, like, not, like, in terms of studying for these classes, I regret just kind of, like, trying to study on my own, and, like, putting people off. And it's like, yeah, like, it's just, like, really, like, studying with people, learning with people, like, in college it's just so hard to figure things out on your own that it's just, like, much more beneficial, more efficient if you study with people. So I regret, like, not, like, making a bigger effort to learn and study with people than to, like, just try and figure it out, like, myself. Yeah, so yeah, definitely not doing that next time. Like, biggest not regret / regret, choosing Berkeley. Like, it's literally the biggest regret of my life because it's so freaking hard, and there are so many nights where you're just staying up late and, like, feeling like you're mentally gonna break and, like, nothing's gonna work out and everything's gonna fail and the world's gonna blow up. But then at the same time, I don't regret it because, like, Like, the people that you meet here are truly amazing, and I love my friends, like, a lot. Like, the people, like, I love the people here, like, even if they can be, like, competitive, snarky people, but, like, I still love them.